Hello, friends. Welcome back to the King YouTube channel. Harry, our beloved prince, has officially entered the American market. From now on, he is known as a true American citizen, distancing himself from the UK. Though he has royal blood, this is only relevant to the royal family and doesn't concern institutions or politics. How are the royal family members reacting? How is Harry feeling? We're here to update you on everything right now. Realistically, Harry becoming a US citizen will take time and effort, but he is determined to make it happen as soon as possible. For Brits who aren't fond of Harry, this might be welcome news. However, this isn't a bad move for Harry either. Becoming an American citizen offers several benefits. Public opinion aside, there are clear advantages for Harry and his family living in the US. He won't have to renew his visa regularly, and he can live and work in the US without facing any restrictions. Sure, if Harry becomes an American citizen, he'll enjoy more rights and privileges, but he'll also have more responsibilities. He'll need to pay us taxes annually as a resident. George also mentioned that Harry and Meghan will positively impact the local community and economy. That could be true. But let's not forget what he did for the UK. The country invested a lot of money and time in raising him, and then he left for the US. He grew up on taxpayer money and then moved to the US as soon as he could. Honestly, this behavior is confusing and completely unacceptable. It could be beneficial for Harry, but he'll face many challenges. One major issue is that he might have to present his case to the US Supreme Court. The US Constitution doesn't allow natural born citizens like Harry's children to have titles of nobility without losing their citizenship. So, what will the outcome be? It's kind of funny. Honestly, I think Harry and Meghan are being too greedy. They know their value has dropped and their children aren't to blame. They seem to be trying to use their kids to get more from the royal family and the UK, whether it's money or status. In some ways, it's clever if it works, but I doubt it will. Harry is still a prince by blood, and that won't change. However, that doesn't mean he and Meghan can do whatever they want. Royals are expected to be strict and set a good example for others. They are supposed to be leaders, but Harry and Meghan have acted irresponsibly and lost credibility. Why should we listen to them after they've been so careless with the country that gave them so much? While the royal family might love Harry and Meghan's children, UK taxpayers shouldn't be paying for their upbringing. It should be a personal family matter. Many Brits despise Harry and Meghan, and they have good reasons to feel that way. There's a clear drawback here. The UK allows for dual nationality, so Harry wouldn't have to give up his UK citizenship. He could live anywhere in the world and keep both his US and UK citizenship. But this decision will upset people. The royal institution has been around for a long time, and maybe Harry thinks he can do whatever he wants. However, I don't think it's a good idea. The right thing for the royals would be to order Harry to revoke his British citizenship. Otherwise, he might become a lot more powerful, which isn't good for most Brits. There's no real reason for Harry to get a citizenship unless he wants to vote legally. But I doubt he'll ever give up his UK citizenship. He'd have to surrender his title, Duke of Sussex, which Meghan would never allow. That title is crucial to her. It's how she makes her money. Meghan worked hard to get into the royal family, so she won't give it up easily. She might find another rich person to marry, but he wouldn't be a prince. I'm not a big fan of dual citizenship. It doesn't seem right for people like Harry to have a full say in how their adopted country is run. It's like giving the vote to a foreigner. Harry is a foreigner. In my opinion, it's too lax. Everyone should have just one nationality, one country to vote in, and fulfill their responsibilities as a citizen there. What's the point of dual citizenship? I know some of you might have it and don't abuse it, but I don't trust Harry. He just wants to use it to his advantage. I'm sure Harry will handle whatever comes his way. He's married to Meghan after all. Imagine being married to Meghan Markle and seeing her every morning. It must be tough, but Harry does it. So becoming an American citizen probably doesn't seem too daunting for him. We shouldn't feel sorry for people who don't deserve it. Harry is eligible for American citizenship because he's married to an American. That's how he got his visa. But it's a long and difficult process. He would have to take an exam. Honestly, I can't imagine Harry passing an exam. Americans should consider what Harry and Meghan will do to benefit the country. Probably nothing. There have been rumors that their neighbors are fed up with them, tired of the constant paparazzi and Harry and Meghan's superior attitude. When they talked about moving to Montecito, residents were excited, and people in new areas wondered if the rumors were true. They seem to only bring problems to their neighbors. Why do they need so many paparazzi? They have so many secrets, like the mystery around their children. No one has confirmed if those children are even real. The paparazzi are just doing their job, and Harry and Meghan might be calling them too. Harry and Meghan need to accept what comes their way unless they're willing to be honest. Going through immigration isn't simple. It's a really long process, and anyone who's gone through it will agree it's tough. It takes years. You have to visit doctors for medical checkups, and you can't pick which one. They make you get x rays, not just one, but two. If the first one isn't clear, you have to do it again. Plus, there are police checks, and you need character references, and it costs a lot of money. Lawyers aren't cheap, and if you're not wealthy, you just have to wait while they decide. Even if you pass everything, you've got to be super clean to become a citizen. And, well, Harry isn't. Harry probably thinks it'll be a piece of cake for him, being a prince and all, married to a US citizen. He's probably assuming he won't have to deal with all that immigration hassle. I bet his lawyer will figure something out. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But if he does get accepted, he'll still milk his royal status because let's face it, that's all he's got. When Harry takes the oath to become a US citizen, he'll have to say bye bye to any loyalty to another country. And get this, he's supposed to give up all his fancy titles and nobility too. I get why Harry becoming a US citizen might seem cool for him, but what's in it for America? He's not exactly a great catch. He gives some weird speeches, plays polo, mistreats horses, and jets around the country on private planes. It's a win for him, but a loss for everyone else. Honestly, America shouldn't have to deal with him. They should just kick him out. The UK doesn't want him back either. They probably wished he'd disappeared to some far off place with his self centered wife forever. Who wants to deal with all the drama those two bring anyway? I hope they make a special rule for Harry, saying no dual citizenship allowed. He's not American. He wasn't born on a military base that might have given him that privilege. And I don't think the Department of Homeland Security even allows Brits to have dual citizenship. It's like pick one country and stick with it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So Harry either stay British because that's who you are, or go for American citizenship. And if he becomes American, he could just head to Mexico. He'd fit right in there. They'd sort him out with a social security number, a credit card, and even tell him who to vote for. Let's dive into Harry's situation now. So, getting a citizenship is a tough journey, as I mentioned. You have to study hard and pass a citizenship exam. But Harry, he couldn't even pass his A levels without cheating. Remember that mess? There's no way he's going to hit the books for this one. Nope. Currently, all he's done is submit an I-485 form for permanent residency or status change. If he wants to go for a citizenship, he'll have to fill out an N-400 application for naturalization. But Harry wasn't exactly top of the class. If he decides to give it a shot, he'll struggle big time because he'll have to meet all the requirements himself. No more sneaky exam takers for him. And remember how Meghan talked about failing the UK citizenship test? Well, Harry's in the same boat, tough luck. The situation with this guy has spiraled out of control. It's getting crazier by the day. He's a prince, the son of a king, born and bred in the UK. The British people educated, protected, and loved him. He even served in the armed forces. Once upon a time, he was the darling of the royal family, next to the Queen, of course. But that's all in the past now. Since meeting Meghan, he's ditched his family, his duties, his military roles, his country. He's on bad terms with his family, cut off his friends, and has a beef with the press and the British people. Harry and Meghan didn't leave Britain on good terms, all because Meghan couldn't get her way, so they've been bashing the royals in Britain every chance they get. Harry betrayed everyone. He doesn't deserve those titles anymore. He should lose his place in the line of succession too. It's not fair to the British people who used to adore him, but Harry's made his choice and he should be completely cut off from his royal role. He'll always be Charles's son, sure, but that doesn't mean he gets to keep any ties to royal life. If Harry ever tries to come back to the UK, he'll find there's no home for him there anymore. They burned all their bridges and there's no turning back. So let him go. Let him become American. Who cares? Everyone will breathe a sigh of relief when Harry and Meghan finally fade into obscurity. We're all tired of the drama. And the story keeps going. Obviously, Harry mentioning becoming a US citizen was just a ploy to provoke his father and brother. It's a real slap in the face to the royal family. King Charles will always be Harry's dad, but he can't keep giving in to Harry's every whim when he shows such disrespect to the rest of the family. Harry and Meghan are basically blackmailing, and unfortunately, the king keeps caving in, treating Harry like a spoiled child. King Charles needs to lay down some rules so Harry stops acting like a brat, or he'll lose the respect of the British people. I hope someone in the family can talk some sense into him, maybe Camilla. Charles loves his son, but he has to think about the rest of the family, especially William. Harry's the one who walked away from his family and the UK, so there's no role for him there anymore. He keeps saying he wants privacy, just like his mother did, except when it's on his terms. Diana had her faults too, but at least she didn't trash the family for a quick buck. Harry needs to give up those titles and see how life goes for him as just an ordinary US citizen if they'll even have him. But even in the US, people aren't thrilled about him being there. It's such a crazy situation when you think about it. Harry keeps painting himself as the victim, even though he's the one attacking everyone. He's the real troublemaker. Harry even quit his job. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The residence is crown property meant exclusively for working royals. You can't just quit and expect to keep all the perks. Charles probably owns some private property. If he wants to give Harry and Meghan a vacation home, I guess that's his call now. Personally, I wouldn't do that. But then again, my parenting style isn't the same as Charles's, and I can tell you Harry won't be getting any crown property. He's not working for the crown anymore, that's for sure. At this point, Harry's basically American, and I just hope he does a better job as a US citizen than he did as a Brit. Harry's just so immature. Everything he does is like a toddler throwing a tantrum. Sure, he can have a residence in the UK, but he's expected to buy it with his own money, not taxpayers. Harry says he wants his invisible children to bond with their cousins and mend fences with his family. Well, Harry, the ball's in your court. You can't just pop in on a weekend and expect everyone to drop everything to make peace with you. Every time Harry doesn't get his way, he throws a tantrum. His actions don't lead to the results he claims to want. What's the point? Honestly, Brits should just be relieved they don't have to deal with him anymore. Now he's American, so Brits be glad. Americans might not be, but will manage. The crucial thing is for the king to strip all titles from Harry and Meghan right away, because frankly, those titles mean nothing now that they're associated with them. King William isn't likely to entertain any notion of Harry making a comeback. It doesn't matter what King Charles decides. Brits only have love for Prince William, thankfully. He's going to be an outstanding king, already excelling as Prince of Wales. Unlike Harry, he's not malicious or weak like his father. I'm certain William will be a remarkable king, leaving a lasting legacy and driving further progress in the UK, and I'm sure William will do what he can to make Harry and Meghan regret their actions. Anyway, let's get back to Harry becoming an American citizen. Sure, go for it, Harry. I wonder, will Meghan and the invisible children renounce their titles? Will they give up their places in the line of succession? If they do, then yes, please. It's about time. I can't wait to see Meghan try to make money without that Duchess title. And why are they still using the hashtag Sussex Royal? One of their fans claims it's a fan site, but it's not. I'm also curious if Harry and Meghan will reimburse all the expenses they charge charities just to show up and give a meaningless speech. I thought the point of their involvement was to raise money for charity, not drain it. They've charged absurd fees for events like the Invictus Games in Dusseldorf. And why? Pure greed. Harry has a tough decision to make. First, he talks about going back to Britain to lend a hand, and now he's saying he wants to stay in America forever. Well, Harry, if you're set on staying here, you got to go through the whole process of becoming an American citizen. And let me tell you, that test isn't a piece of cake. It's probably the toughest test Harry will ever take. Can he really pass it? It's doubtful. So, what's Meghan's role in this? She's not much smarter. Perhaps instead of seeking pity, they should focus on helping others and finding honest work to support themselves. Feeling sorry for them won't help. Plus, they should never even think about going back to the UK. Harry's got a big problem, and it's partly because he's so impulsive. He makes decisions without thinking about the consequences. He just assumes everything will work out fine because he's a prince. But now, not many people are on his side. If he's willing to give up his titles and become just plain old Mr. Mountbatten Windsor, then maybe he can become a US citizen. But here's the thing, his kids will lose their titles too. And let's talk about his visa application. He wasn't even honest on that. Now, he thinks he can get a citizenship. The US doesn't want people with a history of drug abuse. If he messes up, he might end up with no country to call home. So it seems like Harry's trying to become an American citizen, but he hasn't got it sorted out yet. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Maybe he's been allowed to stay in the US because they're still looking into his visa application. It all feels a bit shady to me. Did he really get residency or is he just assuming he did? He's always jumping the gun. Maybe this is just a trick to avoid dealing with that messy visa application. It's all very strange. And when will they stop this strange behavior? Think about all the trouble the rest of the royal family has to deal with because of them. Harry and Meghan keep spreading rumors to confuse everyone, but people aren't as clueless as they think we are. So, if Harry becomes an American citizen, does that mean he and Meghan will lose their titles? If they do lose them, how will they make money? They might need some luck there. I wonder how many of their so called friends will stick around once they're just plain old regular folks. Harry, your family, and the British people won't lose any sleep over you becoming American. In fact, they might see it as a relief that another country has to deal with your drama. I hope when the titles go, their names get taken off all the charity stuff too. And he should definitely be taken out of the line to the throne and any other royal duties he still has. I bet the veterans will be thrilled if he's no longer in charge of Invictus. Finally, the money they've wasted could go to those who really need it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again if this is true. It's great news for British taxpayers. Harry will have to give up his titles, and the British government and parliament will make sure of it. That's just how monarchy works, and he shouldn't expect a cent from American taxpayers either. We're not footing the bill for him or his family. He'll have to pay taxes like everyone else, so he'll need to figure out how to make money without dragging his family through the mud. As for what they'll go by, I guess it'll be Mr. and Mrs. Mountbatten Windsor. That's his real name. They won't be holding on to Sussex, though. If Harry becomes a US citizen, he might not have a say in keeping his prince or duke titles. He'd have to pledge allegiance to America. Now, Meghan, she might cling on to her title for dear life. I doubt she'll let his citizenship go through without a fight. But Harry needs to decide. It'll be about 6 years before he gets a tax bill, and then we'll probably hear more complaints about how important he is and how he needs security. He's really spoiled, to be honest. But if Trump becomes president, I don't think any of this will work out for Harry. Trump's already said he'll deport him. If Harry thinks he's proving a point to his family, he's even more foolish than I thought. I reckon Harry's sweating about the election because if immigration catches wind of his lies on the visa application, he could get deported. That's probably why he's backdating it, hoping to rush the process and get it done by November. He knows the Biden administration would be more forgiving than Trump's. Truth is, Harry and Meghan don't want to give up those titles because that's their cash cow. Without them, they're just a couple of nobodies. So honestly, folks, I'm not convinced this is a voluntary move. In some ways, I reckon he's being pushed into it. Rumors are flying that Harry wants to delay his residency date. If he goes ahead and becomes a US citizen, Meghan's cherished titles could be stripped away, along with the kids' titles. So why backdate his residency to June 29, 2023? Everyone knows Harry and Meghan bought a place in the US back in 2020. I bet both their names are on the mortgage papers. And if you add up all the days they spent in the UK, it'd be a stretch to reach even 3 weeks total. It doesn't sit right with me for someone who's been living publicly in another country to suddenly backdate their official residency. What's Harry trying to achieve with this? If he truly wanted to become an American citizen, he should go through the proper channels. In fact, Harry already meets the requirements to become a US citizen. You need to be the qualified spouse of a US citizen for 3 years. But if he backdates it to last year, that means he's got another 2 years to go. Not the smartest move, if you ask me, but then again, Harry's not exactly known for his genius decisions. So why should we be surprised? One thing I'm sure of, no matter how much the world changes, Harry's actions will always be unforgivable. He tried to tear apart his own family, but his little scheme backfired big time. He's got nobody to blame but himself. You can't treat the royal family like that and expect to get away with it. Honestly, I think most Brits are hoping he does become a US citizen because then he'll lose all his titles, but he shouldn't think for a second that Americans will tolerate his nonsense. We're not paying a cent of our hard-earned money to Harry or Meghan. He used to expect British taxpayers to foot the bill for everything, including his security. Well, Harry, it's time to wake up and take responsibility. Make your own money for once. All right, folks, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Harry leaving the UK to become a full-fledged American citizen. Let me know in the comments below. If you want us to discuss any other royal family topics, drop a comment. And don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye for now, and I'll catch you in the next video on the King YouTube channel.